Your scrambled eggs and toast, aren't you? I know you are. Don't worry, you're not alone. The bird flu outbreak has consumers ruffled about the safety of eating eggs and chicken. Now, that's obviously, of course, if you can even afford the rising prices of poultry products. Let's find out if that omelette is safe to eat. I know I didn't make it awkward for you. I hope you weren't eating eggs. You don't have to put it down just yet. You're probably fine, but let's hear from Dr. Abongile Balarane from the SA Poultry Association. Doctor, good morning. Good to have you with us. Let's start there, shall we? Is it currently safe? The eggs that we are getting in our supermarkets and the chicken we're getting in our supermarkets, is that okay to eat? Is it safe to eat? Do we know that for a fact?
No, thank you. Good morning to the viewers at home. It is safe to consume the poultry products that are on shelves, both the eggs and the meat. The product that you get on shelf has gone all the stages of inspection. It has passed all the inspection stages as regulated by the government. So the consumers, rest assured, the product that you get, it is safe to eat it, provided that you cook it using the normal temperatures of above 60 degrees Celsius. We don't encourage people to consume eggs that are raw at this stage. Rather cook the product before you consume it.
Doctor, I'm sure that you're aware of the stories the past few weeks about counterfeit goods. Spaza shops selling biscuits to little ones, they fell ill. Is there any concern from the poultry sector that we could see a market for poultry products that should not be in supermarket shelves being sold, I don't want to say on the black market, but in, for example, spaza shops, little takeaway cafes? How safe, how assured are you that that chicken is safe to eat? I'm just trying to think of the consumer here who might not always be shopping at a supermarket.
Okay. Now, if you look at the avian influenza, by definition, in South Africa, it's classified as a notifiable disease. Now, on our side as the producers, we've got a responsibility to ensure that if we suspect that there's a sort of a signs of avian influenza at the farm level, we need to report that to the government, and therefore the process gets to be handled by the state vet for all the stages to ensure that all the products or the chickens that are affected in that particular farm, it gets to be destroyed according to the South African regulations. The feed of those birds gets to be destroyed. The chickens themselves, they get to be culled. And then the eggs that are in that farm, they also get to be destroyed. So our responsibility at the producer level, we are clear about it, what we need to be doing. So it's very rare that an affected farm will spread, the products into the trade. So the products that will probably be going out of, or reaching the trade that are positive of AI, then it's signs of being reckless from that particular producer that does that. But we encourage producers as an association. Our members are quite aware of the regulations. We time and again advise them of the information that if you suspect, you need to report immediately to the private vet and also to the state. So the products that may land in the market, it will be an unfortunate situation. But on our side, we are working very hard to ensure that that does not happen.
Yeah, of course you are. I want to talk just from the timeline perspective, from the business side of the SA Poultry Association. You're obviously dealing with government. I'm sure you're hearing updates from the state vet, for example. What's our timeline on this as a country? What are we hearing? How long before we get on top of this, Doctor?
Yeah, if you look at the industry, we've got the broilers, which is your meat side, and then the layers. Now, in terms of this avian influenza, the layers, we were unfortunately hit, at the commercial layer side, which was about 30% of that industry that has been affected. If you look at the meat side, they were mainly hit on the breeding side, which have lost about 2.5 million, broiler pets. They were not hit on the commercial broilers, so which then tells you shortages of meat on the broiler side are not going to be seen. There's quite enough meat in South Africa. Okay. But on the egg side, there will be those shortages of eggs, and we've started to see that in the trade. In terms of some of the supermarkets have already put notices in terms of those shortages. Now, in terms of the recovery, if we start from scratch, to recover the 30% that we've lost on the layer side, we estimate at least another 17 months at most for things to be back to normal, only on the egg side. But on the broiler side, I cannot talk much because I'm mainly responsible for the egg industry of SAPA.
No, absolutely. I just on the egg industry in this case as well, 17 months is very worrying, especially from the egg perspective of this. The meat side doesn't seem to be as badly affected. What is the status of imports and exports? I'm not au fait with the industry, obviously. Is that being affected in any way, shape or form? What does that look like at the moment? Because I imagine from the Poultry Association, you watch that quite closely.
Yeah, if you look at the imports on the egg side, we've already reduced in terms of the cross-border exports. We usually export a lot of products to, to our SADC members. We have reduced on that program because already there's these, tight supplies in South Africa. We have then, facilitated the importation of. Let's start with the liquid eggs and the powder eggs on the egg side, so that we can cover the industrial purposes or industrial uses, which are your bakeries. Now, with the remaining capacity that we have in South Africa now of the beds on the layer side, we will channel all those eggs now to the retail side. So we are also fast-tracking the importation of the fertile eggs for hatcheries. We've already started now that process, so that we, in that 17 months that we're talking about. So a lot of work has now been done in terms of bringing back that production that has been lost. Even on the broiler side, as they were hit by, on the broiler breeder side, about 46 million broiler fertile eggs are expected to reach South Africa anytime soon. And also on the egg side, we're expecting anything above 300,000 eggs just for breeding stock. So that's how far we have gone with the importation of the products.
Doctor, just on that point of the imports on this and also the alternatives, the powder eggs, I must be honest, I've never had powder eggs. I can't imagine what they taste like, and liquid eggs as well. If it's going to take 17 months, as you're suggesting, is the possible timeline, especially from the eggs perspective, is there a concern from the industry that businesses are going to get used to using powder eggs for their products or liquid eggs? Could you see this is going to have a much longer term effect, negative effect on the industry beyond the 17 months, because people will get used to the alternatives, won't they? How worried are you?
It's not a worrying situation, because the liquid and the powder are not mainly used for human consumption. So you'll get the liquid, yes, in some hotels. That's the liquid egg that is used for the omelettes in the morning and the scrambled eggs. So that is not an issue. The consumer is already aware of that product. But the bulk of it, of the liquid and the powder, is normally used in the bakeries, so that is the market we want to cover, so that with the remaining eggs that we have, we don't want to break them and make liquid and the powder out of them. In any way, we always import the powder eggs, so we don't produce it locally in South Africa. We import powder, bulk of it. So to cover that, we will increase the importation of the powdered eggs, and then also include on the list now the liquid eggs that we normally produce locally. We're not going to produce it now. We will import it at the moment, so that the remaining eggs that we have are then channeled to the consumer. So the consumer will still get the normal eggs, the table fresh shell eggs at shelves.
Well, I appreciate the time and a lot of clarity as well, Dr. Balarane. Thank you very much indeed from the South African Poultry Association. So very quickly, if you are seeing poultry products, whether it's the meat, the chicken, whatever it is, whatever cut you like, and also the eggs in your supermarkets, those are safe to eat according to the Poultry Association. You can buy them. I know there were some people who are concerned about doing that. And our timeline to maybe get on top of the crisis, 17 months from now.